So example 5 is a two-part question again, where we have tangent of arc cosine of 2/3. So we'll start in the parentheses first with arc cosine of 2/3. Arc cosine, we are only looking at the top half of the circle. We're looking at all the x values. We look for 2/3. We don't find it. 2/3 is not a value on the unit circle for x values. So when not on unit circle, draw a triangle. So we can't use one of these main angles that we have on the unit circle because it's not one of those. We have to do our own angle, and our own angle means drawing a triangle and drawing an angle. So for cosine, remember I am still stuck when you do arc cosine, you're stuck in the top half of the unit circle because arc cosine makes us, the range says we have to be up on the top half. And if it's a positive cosine, we're going to live in quadrant 1. If this was a negative 2/3, we'd live in quadrant 2 because that would be a negative cosine value over here. But we're not, so we're over here, and I can just draw any random triangle that I want in this quadrant. And if you remember from before, cosine is x over r. So my x value is 2 and my r value is 3. I can get my y value by doing Pythagorean's theorem. So find y. 2 squared plus y squared equals 3 squared. 4 plus y squared equals 9. Y squared equals 5. Y equals square root of 5. All right, once I got my triangle, I've done part 1. That's part 1. Make your triangle using this information. Part 2 is now do tangent of the triangle. So part 2, tangent of triangle. And tangent of the triangle means use the formula for tangent, which is y over x, and use the values that we have. So y over x, square root of 5 over 2. So to recap on that one, we did arc cosine first. This wasn't on the unit circle, so we drew a triangle, figured out all the missing values. Once we had our angle, then we did part 2, which was the tangent of the triangle, which was y over x, so we have our value. Last one, if possible, find the exact value of cosine of arc sine of negative 3/5. So arc sine means we'll first look on the unit circle at all the y values, see if we can find the angle. Negative 3/5 is not on the unit circle. When it's not on the unit circle, I have to draw a triangle. For arc sine, I'm stuck on the right half of the circle because that's the restricted range, and because it's a negative value, I'm stuck in quadrant 4 instead of quadrant 1. So I'm going to do my triangle. Sine is y over r, so my y has to be negative 3, my r has to be 5, and my x is whatever Pythagorean theorem would give me here. It looks like it'll be a 3, 4, 5 triangle, so x is 4. This is part 1. I use info to draw a triangle. That's a triangle. All right, part 2. Now I'm going to go outside of the parentheses and do cosine. So part 2, do the cosine of the triangle. So I do cosine because that's what the question asks, and I can use the triangle and the values here to get that. So cosine is x over r, x is 4, r is 5, so the cosine answer would be 4/5.